More NASCAR content? For all the latest in NASCAR, including driver interviews, race recaps, fantasy NASCAR, listener call-in shows, and awesome giveaways, tune in to the Lap Traffic Podcast on iTunes, Podbean, or your favorite hosting site with new shows every Tuesday night. Check out Lap Traffic on the web, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, and follow on Twitter @LapTrafficPC. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!
With the ButtKicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. ButtKicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the new year. 2023 is upon us, and it is time for some new racing action. And here tonight, it's Tuesday for the Full Send Racing Series Season 4. Now, this isn't a points race, but we're here for some fun. It's the Clash here at the LA Coliseum, a track that was made just for the NASCAR series last year. We're excited to see how it is going to handle with the trucks, as that of the Full Send Racing Series, always switching back and forth from the Xfinity car to the trucks. Well, last season it was the Xfinity cars. We got to see Ross Tatum climb and conquer for a championship, but now we switch to the trucks. Can he get himself a championship in this vehicle, or could we see someone else take the championship? Tonight, it's just a preview night. Next week is when the season officially starts. We're excited to give you the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is going to be Trevor Earhart. Trevor, happy holidays and welcome to the new year.
Yeah, happy holidays. Back at it, 2023, Sam. Some of the same drivers, some new drivers, new truck. And we're here at the specialty-built LA Coliseum inside the Coliseum itself. And I cannot wait for this clash to get started.
As drivers just got done with practice, it's time for qualifying. They're going to be having themselves 2 laps for themselves for 5 minutes to see who can put down the fastest lap, which then will translate to where they will be placed for heat racing. We're going to have ourselves heat racing and LCQ as well as a main featured event. There'll be 90 laps, and we're excited to see how that one's going to go. And talked about the champion of last season. It's Ross Tatum in the 21. Seen him on screen. First lap, fastest on the board. Will the second lap be any faster? He goes a little bit wide out of the corner, and it looks like that is going to be it. 2 laps already done. And Trevor, this track so small, qualifying might be done in a very quick blink of an eye.
Yeah, 13-second laps for these drivers around this track. It is going to go by quick. These heat races, the LCQ, the feature, they're going to go by really quick, but we're going to have a ton of action, and Ross Tatum picking up right where he left off on top of the scoring pylon here to start the season.
As drivers just trying to get a little bit extra time for themselves and also practicing how to get into pit road. That's going to be Philip Chavez done with their qualifying 5th fastest on the board. There's going to be the 77 of Kyle Carpenter, going to be dropping down to 7th place, as well as a couple of other drivers we're seeing on screen. It is crazy to see this field, the way that it has grown, blown up, and it's so crazy, Trevor, to see this field. I'm so excited to see what we're going to see this season and some of the newcomers that are coming into this group on screen. It's the 118 coming across and having a little bit of a beat and batter to the outside wall. It's Jason going to be Ferrar going to be that driver to watch out for. And this 118, I'm excited to see what some of these rookies are going to come with, as we've got 3 here tonight.
Yeah, excited to see what the rookies are going to do. You know, we saw so much exciting racing from Full Send last season with the Xfinity cars and with the trucks, how competitive they are. Just in general, I think with this league, it's going to be a great fit switching to the trucks. I think we're just going to see more action every week on top of what we saw last season with these guys.
As actually, want to take the back. We actually have a total of 4 rookies that are going to be racing here tonight. Now, we are seeing qualifying. Got that of 2 minutes and 15 seconds left here this evening, as a couple of drivers still out there on track. Going to be getting just as much time in as possible. It's going to be the 2-time champ that we see on screen brushing the wall. That's Cameron Sarton. Going to be seeing that second lap. Going to be Nolan Void not going to count after brushing the wall for the 24. And for Cameron Sarton, the 2-time champ, he won the last truck series that they had. That was back in season 2, 24. Probably one of the favorites to watch out for this season. But here tonight, the unknown of a quarter-mile track. So flat, and Trevor, not a lot of knowledge when drivers come to this circuit. Usually this is a clash only in some series, never even come to this circuit.
Yeah, it's a track that not a lot of the drivers on the surface have a lot of experience with, specifically made for the next-gen cars. and the Cup drivers. So I'm sure a lot of these guys might have a little bit of experience in those, but when it comes to the trucks, it's a completely different animal, and cannot wait to see what kind of show this is going to put on for us.
As drivers are getting a little bit of a last minute drivers meeting as everyone is done with qualifying. They got about that of 1 minute left in the timer, but Travis Dart's going to be giving them a little bit more time to talk things over. As another person, we got to give a big thanks here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, running productions this evening, going to be that of Robert Moyer Jr. And as this year comes in, it is exciting to see how this season's going to come for us. And guess what? We've got plenty of cool things to show off. And since we've got time, let's give a thanks to ourselves here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We have our own merch line. If you'd like to go get yourself some warm and cozy clothing, we've got that for you. Freaky Fast Broadcasting has our merch store. And Trevor, I know for myself, I've gotten a t-shirt. I don't know if you're getting a t-shirt soon, but they are comfy. And I would say with the winter season, it's the best time to get yourselves a hoodie or t-shirt.
Yeah, I gotta get those hoodies, gotta get those t-shirts. New year, gotta order me a Freaky Fast t-shirt. Didn't get one before the end of the year, but birthday's right around the corner, so I think that's gonna be my birthday gift to myself. Is gonna be one of those fancy Freaky Fast t-shirts.
Oh man, they are comfy. They are nice, great quality. Go get yours today. Qualifying's getting done. They are about to be sorted out into heat racing, expecting at least 2 heat races. We got a total of 18 drivers that are going to be running here tonight. There is a chance of 3 heats, and it looks like, based on the amount of drivers that showed up, we're going to be having 3 heats here this evening. We've got our first groups of drivers out there on track and on course. We're going to be having 20 laps for these featured events. This is how qualifying goes through. It's going to be every 3rd driver is going to be placed into their lane. So it's going to be 1st, it's going to be 4th, then it's going to be dropping all the way down like that. That is going to be your 1st heat. 2nd down to that of 5th, and every 3rd after that. Then it's going to be 3rd down to 6th. Every 3rd after that, that will be your 3rd heat. This first group going to be Ross Tatum, and also newcomers going to be in this. We've got 3 of our 4 rookies in this field, as we got that of Nick Gould as well. It's going to be seeing that of Kyle Carpenter. Our 2nd rookie going to be that of Brian Wilson. Jason Ferrara going to be in that of 5th, as well as going to be seeing that of Doug Pierce in that 6th place position. 20 laps, Trevor, and only 2 move on to the featured event. They got to be quick, they got to be fast, and we got ourselves only 1 more lap of pacing before we get ourselves green flag racing for 2023.
Gotta be quick, gotta be fast. Expect to see a lot of the bumpers being used to get around each other. This track's gonna be hard to get by one another. Track position is gonna be key for these guys, and gotta be careful on getting the power down. We saw it a lot in practice. Drivers spinning on corner exit, trying to get as best or as good of a drive off as they can. Something these guys are gonna have to watch out for as pace cars getting ready to pull off, and we're getting ready to go racing in 2023.
Getting ready into the Geico restart zone. It's going to be a quick take off and go. Into this restart zone they are, and it's going to be a slow start as they're now going to be taking off into the throttle. One, be careful not to be caught with a black flag, and they're already going to be using up that apron. Ross Tatum going to be holding strong, but here comes that of Nick in the fat of the 14 on the outside, not able to clear. Ross Tatum leads lap 1 of heat 1.
Nick gets a little loose off corner exit to turn number 4, allowed Carpenter, who cleared the 9 of Wilson to almost get to his inside, but Carpenter's going to have to hang back and see what he can do as a wrecking behind him.
It's going to be seeing that Afura going to be part of that one in 118, as well as Doug Pierce going to be collected. Another driver going to be spinning out. That's Brian Wilson, and the yellow flag strikes already lap 3 as multiple incidences popped up, and oh man, it's just showing how scrappy these drivers might have to be. But Trevor, that incident, those drivers really struggling on the entry and exit of these corners.
Yeah, it looks like, looking back, I don't know if we're going to have the replay being able to be pulled up, but it looks like Ferré got loose under braking, getting into 3, hits the inside wall, and that collects Doug Pierce. And then out of 4, looks like Wilson, just a little bit too much throttle, loops himself around. Thankfully, doesn't make any contact with the wall. So the 9 looks to have a little no damage, but the 118 heavy damage to the inside wall for him. As the replay is looks like we got the replay pulled up right here, Sam.
I'm going to be seeing the aggressive coming down into the corner. It just locks up the rear end, bounces on the inside wall, back up into Doug Pierce. And then we also had the 9 spin out directly after this on the exit of the corner just by himself, and showing off just how tricky these corners can be. But Trevor, I mean, right there, it looked like either that was a gearing issue of drivers slowing down, or it looked like a brake bias issue.
It could have been a brake bias issue. I think that's probably most likely what it was for Jason there. A little bit too much rear brake probably in that truck, meaning that the brake pressure is more toward the rear, and so probably just locked those rear tires up trying to get into the corner and just looped himself around. And for Doug Pierce, just nowhere for him to go, and kind of the opposite end of the scale for the 9 of Wilson, just tried to get on the power a little bit too soon to try to get a run on the 77 of Carpenter and just spun himself around. But I mean, you're gonna have to be aggressive around here, Sam. These drivers showing early on that they're not afraid to be aggressive, but we still got about that of 14 more laps to go, 13 more laps to go in this first heat, and already we're seeing some wild action.
Yeah, plenty of wild action. We're stacked up, about to go green this time by, and look at the, career-wise here at the Full Send Racing Series. This is probably one of the experience level, the lowest of them all. The only driver that's been here for all 4 seasons, it's going to be Doug Pierce, all the way back in that of 3rd place. I mean, that is 6th place. He's got to hope for a good launch for himself as the drivers are green. And it's going to be Ross Tatum already clearing himself to the lead. And it's going to be that Nick Gould going to be trying to stay in the right spot of 2nd place again. The top 2 drivers automatically move on to the featured event. If you do not make it to the top 2, you get pushed to the LCQ race, where your fate could be sealed already. As here comes Gould trying to dive down, and he is being heavily pressured by that of Kyle Carpenter that we see here on screen.
And Gould with a little bit of a lockup there, trying to stay right behind the 20 vote of Ross Tatum. Doesn't lose a lot of time. Carpenter losing a little bit of ground to our 2 leaders. Is right now Gould just has to ride behind that of Ross Tatum, and he'll be safely in to the main event. But another lockup from the 14 runs wide, gonna lose a lot of time there to Tatum, but still maintains that gap to 3rd place of Kyle Carpenter.
Kyle Carpenter trying to close in on that gap. He's going to be in 3rd place, needs to get by that of the 14 as soon as possible. For our leader of Ross Tatum, he is clearing out and feeling great, as that of Kyle Carpenter going to be finding himself struggling to move forward. But the 21 not, the last season's champion, won in his rookie year, and it looked so dominant at times. Excited to see what the trucks are going to be like, as last season they were in the Xfinity car, and it was absolute domination for the 21 at moments. Curious to see how will that translate, Trevor, because the Xfinity car completely different from the trucks.
Yeah, the Xfinity car is a completely different animal from these trucks. You have to, really drive the Xfinity cars. The trucks are much more planned and much more momentum based than the Xfinity car is. So it'll be interesting to see how Ross Tatum's going to handle that transition. But the battle for that transfer spot, Sam, starting to heat up. Kyle Carpenter has caught up to the back of the 14 of Gould. Gould locked up a couple of times, run wide on corner exits. It's really allowed the 77 to close in, and this battle's going to get really intense here in these last couple of laps.
Riding on board with the 77 to gain a little bit of a sense of how flat this track is. It might be a bumper, and Trevor, you noted on that. You might have to use your elbows and ruffle up the driver in front of you if you want to figure out how to get in front of them and make some passes. Everyone's aiming to get as low as possible on the apex of these corners. It's 3 laps to go. It is go time for the 77 if he wants to automatically lock himself in. But if he wants to race a little bit more, where he is lined, we'll put him in the LCQ, as Nick Gould, the rookie, looking great for themselves, as our leaders got 2 more laps to go.
Another lockup there from Gould. It's going to bring Carpenter in just that little bit closer, almost to the rear bumper of the 14 is the 77. This might be his chance to use the bumper to clear that, to clear out the 14 as the white flag is out.
Try to go a little bit wide, get a better exit off the exit of 2. Not close enough, not able to dive bomb, but will he? Gould's going to be staying a little bit too high. Here comes Carpenter, and it's going to be the 14. Side-by-side action for the cutoff spot, and Nick Gould's going to take that position. But the winner of heat number 1, going to be the champ from last season, Ross Tatum, still looking good even in the trucks, as the rest of the field come to a slow. Well, that's heat 1 down. Trevor, we got 2 more heats to go, and an LCQ, and then a 90-lap featured event, as we are getting ourselves set up. Who are we seeing here tonight?
Man, what a good first heat that was. Tatum, absolute domination, just picking up right where he left off from last season. The battle for the transfer spot right there between Gould and Carpenter had a chance. Could have slightly maybe put the 14 into the wall there. Thought better of it. Might have thought maybe if he makes it in, a little bit of bad blood between those two could come back and haunt him there in the feature race. So we'll have to see what Kyle can do in the LCQ race coming up.
And now heat number 2 getting rolling as we're going to be having another group of 6 drivers. It's going to be Ken Campbell, Philip Chavez, that of Travis Dart, as well as that of Christopher Wade, John Dart, as well as Lyle Christensen. Look at the experience level of this field, a little bit more experience, as a lot of these drivers have been here for multiple seasons. And Ken Campbell, he looks quick and actually was one of the drivers that battled for the win here last season. We didn't get to cover that clash, but the 15 certainly a driver to watch out for in this heat.
And Campbell showed speed last season at short tracks as well, and had speed throughout the season. Pretty much, for a majority of it, just had some bad luck, especially come playoff time. But a really hard competitor here for Full Send, and we'll have to see what he can do from pole position.
As we are green here tonight, and it is going to be heat number 2. Ken Campbell taking off for himself inside, gonna be a hard push. Travis Dart going to be forcing his way into second place. Philip Chavez nowhere to go for himself, as he's going to be pressured, a lot of beating and banging, and this is what we were expecting to see from this course.
And this is what we expect to see. John Dart with some more contact into the back of Chavez. Chavez slides, saves it, almost saves it, hits Dart again, but John Dart survives. Chavez survives, but Chavez goes from 2nd to 4th, and that 101's now got some work to do to try to get back up there to that transfer spot.
He's got to figure out how to get up there as you're seeing the 99. John Dart trying to catch up to Travis Dart for himself, and that's a big gap to be worrying about. Philip Chavez, that little sliding, great saves for himself, and luckily everyone was giving him space, but with how spaced out everyone is, Trevor, this is going to be difficult if we're going to be seeing a caution or not. See that 26 in the transfer position for himself.
Yeah, this is exactly what Ken Campbell wanted to see. Let those guys battle it out behind him, build a gap, not have to worry about having anybody pressuring him, so Ken can just kind of run his own race. And then Travis Dart, really aggressive move on the start, gets himself up there into 2nd, has a pretty decent gap back to John Dart in 3rd, but we saw what happened there with Nick Gould in the heat number 1. If you start making those mistakes, that allows that 3rd place driver to catch up to you. So Travis going to have to be careful here not to make any mistakes.
Driver all the way back in 6th position has the longest road to be moving up if he wants to move on to that of the featured event on this go around. It's the 53 of Christopher Wade. Wade coming in. This is his 2nd season. He's hoping for a decent run. But Travis Dart, one of the adamants, one of the founders of this league, he is happy where he finds himself 2nd position. But the driver leading and dominating, Ken Campbell, no pressure at all as you see the 26 looking backwards. John Dart needs to find a little bit extra speed, and he is being pressured because John Dart, Philip Chavez, they're the fastest trucks on track in 3rd and 4th position. They're catching up to this 26.
Catching up to him, and Chavez, is going to be a little bit heated by the way the Darts kind of manhandled him there in the first lap with all the contact. So I think if Chavez can get to the back of John Dart first off in the 99, we might see a little bit of a bump and run as he closes ever so closer to that rear bumper, heading off into turn number 1.
Need to make this pass quickly as we're past halfway. 10 laps to go, about to be making it 9. As we're coming across the line, 1/4 mile is the length of this track. Only 13, sometimes 14 seconds is how long this course is. And these laps tick away quickly. You've got to hit your marks perfectly. And it looks like for Philip Chavez, he's running out of time as they are starting to slow up. But there's a great dive bomb move, but just not close enough to make contact to the 99. Was that 101?
Not close enough to upset the 99 on corner exit there for Philip Chavez, and just lost himself a lot of momentum making that move, and another big aggressive dive into the corner, just not able to get the drive off that John Dart's able to get. And they're closing in, Sam, on Travis Dart in the 26, both of them here with coming to 5 to go. This could get interesting for this transfer position.
I think Travis Dart's starting to feel he's got some right side damage for the 26. He got on the outside wall, I believe the exit of turn 2 laps ago, where he lost about a half a second to that of John Dart, and he is continuously making mistakes. Another wide exit for the 26, but John Dart not able to capitalize as much as he would like. 1/10 down, but it's still over a half a second is the gap between 2nd and 3rd. 5 laps, make it 4 laps to go here in heat number 2 of the clash this evening, as it's going to be top 2 from this heat automatically move on to the featured event. John Dart, he is catching up to Travis Dart, and he's pulling along Philip Chavez.
They're both inching ever so closer, and for Travis Dart, you just can't make a mistake here, and he's made a couple of the last couple of laps, allowing those two to to come closer, and another lockup there on corner exit, trying to get that truck rotated. Just allows John Dart to creep in a little bit more as we're coming to 3 to go here across the line.
Going to be seeing that again. Campbell, 2 to go for himself. Travis Dart, he is being so pressured in this moment, but a great exit at turn 2. John Dart is not able to get back on the throttle as strong as he was hoping. Those tires might be too heated up. We're on the white flag of heat number 2. Ken Campbell, comfortable where he's at, but could we see another last corner dash? John Dart trying to dive bomb his way, but keeps it smooth, steady. Travis Dart will move on to that of the featured event, as well as our winner of heat number 2, Ken Campbell.
Campbell and Travis Dart advanced. John Dart, Philip Chavez, Lyle Christensen, and Christopher Wade will be moving on to the LCQ and have one more chance to get into the featured race here tonight.
And this is a very stacked heavy group, heat number 3. We've got Andrew Medlin, who dominated this race last season before he got himself in a little bit of contact with Ken Campbell. Then we've also got the 2-time champ of Cameron Sarton, and kind of the sensation at the end of the season last season for season 3, Zach Hall, also in this group. We've also got that of the rookie Jonathan Caspier. Excited to see how this group's going to go, but this is how they're going to be lining up as we have heat 3 rolling off the grid. It's Andrew Medlin, Nick Holland, as well as that of Chris Chavez, Essery, Cameron Sarton, Jonathan Caspier, as well as Zach Hall, all ready to take off here.
Yeah, you have the rookie all the way back in the back, the part-time ringer that dominated at times in Zach Hall. I would say the short track king in Andrew Medlin. I mean, he had so much speed at any short track we went to last season. And then 2-time champion Sarton. Nick Holland, I mean, who was around in the top 5, top 10 all last season, as well up there in second. This heat, Sam, has some heavy hitters, and this could get really interesting.
And we saw from that last heat number 2, a lot of drivers had some very aggressive moves on that first and second lap. Will we see the aggression built up here? Again, top 2 move on to the featured event. Everyone else gets bounced out to the LCQ. Pace car is off into the Geico restart zone, and we're green for heat number 3 of the Clash in Hollywood.
And Medlin with a great jump. Holland trying to clear the 13 off the corner exit. He's going to do that, falls into that second spot, and that battle now going to be for that transfer spot. Nick Holland, Philip Chavez going to be fighting for that, but try not to let Andrew Medlin get too far away. Zach Hall gives a shot to the back of the 24 of Sarton. Holland drifts wide. That's going to allow that Essery to get to his inside. Sarton with a dive and locks it up. He almost makes contact with the 68 of Nick Holland. That battle for 4th is now heating up.
And it was a bad exit by the 24 of Sarton. He gives up that inside lane and allows Holland to drop down low. Now going to have to wait for another mistake if this 24 wants to move forward. But he gets contact. Zach Hall bounces the 24 around, and yellow flag is out here on lap number 6. And Nick Holland forgets to get on the brakes, slams into the outside wall in the entry of turn 1.
No, not what you want to see from Nick Holland. Just lost track of where he was, and for Cameron Sarton in the 24, it just looked like he got a little bit of a wheel hop. Just that truck did not look comfortable on braking into the corner, got a little loose, and I don't think Zach expected him to check up as much as he did in the contact between the 32 and the 24 since the 24 spinning around.
Aggressive racing, and it looked like, I mean, for that of Cameron Sarton, he was not looking very confident on the exit of the corners, but that wheel hop just showing how difficult it can be. These drivers didn't notify. When you get into those lower speeds, the force feedback actually kind of reacts a little odd. So drivers got to be careful on how slow they get on the exit of these corners. They honestly could have some major issues, as we saw there. A little bit of a bump. We'll see how race control. We got ourselves a race control for the whole entire season here at Full Send Racing Series. Big thanks to that of Steve Benjamin for stepping up and joining that of the Full Send Racing Series, as we'll see if any penalties need to be given out or if it will continue to stay where they lie.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what the call is going to be from race control on that. And always a benefit to leagues to have that race control. Just makes it easier on admins, especially when they're racing, not to have to make a caution call or a black flag clear call. It keeps them, focusing on the race and not having to try to multitask at the same time as they're trying to pass each other. But so big shout out to Steve for jumping on board with Full Send this season. But Sam, my question is, Nick Holland in the 68, how much damage does he have, and how is that going to affect that truck around this track with him just driving off into the wall like that?
I was curious as well. I am automatically moved up to go see if he got a required damage flag, because that was probably the most aggressive contact we've seen all night of a driver sliding into the outside wall. It looked like it's just his brakes failed when he slid up, and you could see the marks on track, of drivers just trying to hold on the best that they can on the inside. I'm excited to see if he can react well, but in third place, he might have a good strong run as we're green here as drivers trying to hold off in Nick Holland. He might have some damage on the right side, but he's still holding strong on that inside quarter panel. Will he do a dive bomb move here? He's right there, and Essery's got to be careful.
Essery trying to get the power down, keep that momentum on the outside line, tries to get down in front of Holland. Holland sends it in deep. That's going to open the door for Zach Hall, almost 3 wide down the backstretch. Essery thought about going back in the 68 of Holland, thinks better of it, but this opens the door for Zach Hall in the 32. He's to the inside. Now as the battle for the transfer spot heats up, and Medlin's loving what he's seeing as he drives away in the 12.
Andrew Medlin loving the fact that it's his teammate, newcomer Zach Hall, going to be joining up into the Freaky Fast Racing team, and Zach Hall makes the pass. Contact going to be made. Hall and Essery, they continue to squabble, and the two-time champs trapped in that of 5th place after being spun earlier in this heat. 9, making 8 laps to go, and Andrew Medlin, Zach Hall, they are trying to pull away to lock themselves into that featured event.
That battle for third is where the action's at. Essery's given a couple of shots to Nick Holland. Not sure that Essery's too happy with how Holland raced him there a couple laps ago, but the 24 of Sarton just kind of sitting, waiting, watching what's going to happen in front of him. If these two make a lot of contact as Sarton drives it in a little bit too deep and right behind them, the 8 of Case-Beard drives it in deep as well, and he loses a lot of time to those guys.
Yeah, Case-Beard is really just off the pace. He's going to have to resettle in once we get to the LCQ. But for right now, it is heavy pressure on that of Nick Holland. Will we see Chris Esser? Essery's got to make a move now. He is just too far back. If he does not make the pass, at least on this lap, 5 to go for Andrew Medlin and Zach Hall. But we've seen it, Trevor. 2nd place always seems to be the spot. If you're going to slip up, you can easily lose that transfer spot. They haven't done it just yet, but we've seen some scares at the ends of these heat races already. But Zach Hall starting to pull away. He found a little bit of extra speed there that last lap.
Yeah, got clear of those two. Now able to just kind of run his own line, find his rhythm, and really kind of set sail for these guys to battle for third. It is going to be where the fight is, and this is going to set where these guys start in the LCQ. So if Essery can get around Holland, it means he'll start ahead of Nick, as Nick has a big lockup there into turn number 4. Corner exit, slides up the track. Essery not quite there, but he's going to send it down into turn number 1 and get to the inside of the 68 of Nick Holland.
This is such an important position because this could be for 2nd place. I mean, starting in 3rd place, which is a very powerful position. We've seen it so far on these restarts. And just like that, Chris Essery makes the pass. The dive bomb move by the 24, the white flag, and sliding up. It's going to be Essery. And here comes Holland winning the race. Is Medlin. Hall's going to move on to the transfer spot. But who will take 3rd? It's going to be that of Cameron Sarton by a nose.
Sarton ekes out the 3rd place. Holland gave a shot to Essery off into the corner. I believe it was out of turn number 2 or into turn number 1. Sent the 13 sliding up the track. Sarton took the opportunity there, moves himself up into 3rd, and that's going to set him up in a good position in the LCQ.
And the LCQ is going to be massive because these drivers are going to be having the top 4 move on to the featured race. This LCQ, this is the last chance qualifier, and the drivers have 20 laps to settle the score. But Trevor, what makes this more interesting, we only got 12 drivers. We're doubling the size of our heat races. 12 drivers enter, only 4 get to exit out.
Yeah, this, we saw how willing they were to lean on each other in those heat races. And well, now this is your last chance to make it into that featured race. 4 drivers going to move on. So those 4 spots are going to, that 4th position is going to be, I think, where we're going to see a lot of this action at. But Sam, I don't expect any truck to come out of this LCQ with a straight fender on it.
No, not at all. And that contact that we saw of Nick Holland and Essery, Cameron Sarton, because of Sarton making that pass for 3rd, he gets to start 3rd. Nick Holland falls to 6th. Essery all the way back to 9th. It is going to be a massive push if they're going to be moving forward. But here's how they're going to be lining up on this last chance qualifier. Taking the pole award, going to be that of Kyle Carpenter. with John Dart to his outside in second. Third is going to be that of Cameron Sarton. Brian Wilson, the rookie, is going to be in fourth. Philip Chavez in fifth. Nick Holland's going to be in sixth. Seventh's going to be Doug Pierce. Lyle Christensen's going to be in eighth, with Chris Chavez-Essery in ninth. Jason Farrar going to be in that of, Furray going to be in that of 10th, with Christopher Wade in 11th, and Jonathan Caspier going to be in 12th place. 12 drivers. Trevor, got to be quick. What are you excited, or who do you think's going to move on?
You know, John Dart had speed there in heat number 2, just couldn't quite get the track position. Carpenter had speed, just lost his track position. Sarton's there. I expect to see carnage, chaos, and I cannot wait, same as we're in the restart zone.
Here we go, LCQ. Who's making the featured event? We're green. As heading down in turn number 1, it's going to be Carpenter trying to eke his way slowly on the inside. Holding strong, it's going to be John Dart, but he loses that position. A little bit of contact for that lead spot.
Oh, they're wrecking
as they're wrecking on the exit into the entry of turn 3, as the driver is stuck into the ground. What a weird spot he was in. I'm
not quite sure who that was. I believe the 118's involved 8. Doug Pierce is in it, K-Spear, Foray, and I'm not sure who that last truck is that's pulling away, Sam, but carnage in turn number 1.
That was actually, I believe, Doug Pierce, and Pierce required damage flag. 39 will not be moving on for himself to our featured event. As if you got a required flag, Trevor, with only 20 laps, this is going to go very quickly. So you don't really have that a lot of time to work with, but whoo, first go in the LCQ. There was our first carnage. Will we see more?
Most likely we will see more. That was going into turn number 3. It was contact between Doug Pierce and Lyle Christensen. That sent Christensen spinning, Pierce to the inside wall, and he bounces back across the track, collects the 118 and the 8, and then Chris Essery barely squeaks by with no damage to the 13, so we'll have to see what happens with him, but heavy damage for a couple of these vehicles early on.
As drivers going to be in pacing for themselves, Doug Pierce in pit road, currently now 2 laps down. But Kyle Carpenter, John Dart, Cameron Sarton, and Brian Wilson going to be your top 4. Again, top 4 from this race will move on to the featured event. Featured event going to be that of 90 laps for these drivers, where they're going to have no fast repair, 4 extra sets of tires, and it is going to be a melee on who can find themselves winning the first race of 2023 for that of the Full Send Racing Series. This is the Clash. This is not a points race. Points racing starts next week for these drivers, but the Clash in Hollywood, presented by Ghost Racing. Thank you for joining us for our first broadcast. It's good to be back to covering iRacing on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name's Sam Dyer. With me is that of Trevor Earhart, Robert Moyer Jr. in the background, and lap traffic able to get themselves back to our leaders as we're stacked up, ready to get rolling. It's going to be that of Kyle Carpenter, John Dart, as well as Cameron Sarton, Brian Wilson, Nick Holland, Philip Chavez, Christopher Wade, Chris Essery, our top 8, ready to get rolling. Pace car is off into the Geico restart zone, and we are green once again.
And Carpenter with a great jump there on the 99 of John Dart. Sarton trying to just keep in line there, and then Wilson in 4th trying to hold on to that transfer position, but he's going to look to the outside there of the 24 of Cameron Sarton, but he's got Nick Holland now to his inside as that battle for the transfer spot. That's where the action is. Nick Holland to the inside. Brian Wilson, almost a little bit of contact. Philip Chavez in the 101 is there as well, trying to see if he can make a move and try to get around the 9 as well as the 68 tries to get by.
Wiggle, and they're wrecking behind. It's Christopher Wade going to be spun around for himself, but I got to say, Nick Holland got saved there. He got a bad launch out of turn number 4. Philip Chavez was about to pounce before that yellow saved that of the 68. It's Christopher Wade going to be bringing out this most recent yellow. And for the 53, that of the exit of turn 4 looked to be a bad bump and a little bit of assistance that he got for himself, as he had that of Chris Essery giving him the bad touch. Let's spun him around, bringing out our second caution of this LCQ race. We're at the halfway marker, and Trevor, man, we've already seen 3 heat races. We're into our 4th of the night for the LCQ, and we're already practically seeing the amount of laps that we're going to be seeing for our featured event.
Yeah, I mean, and just the action that we're seeing here tonight. I mean, these drivers giving it all they can out there, putting on a show for us, and Sam, we're 11 laps in to this LCQ. We've had 2 wrecks, one of which took out 4 trucks essentially with how much damage that everybody got in that, and then a little bit of contact in the back of the field as drivers try to make up as much ground as they can. And we still got 90 laps to go in the main event, and then next week we go to Daytona to a super speedway for the first points paying race of the season. I mean, what a better way to start your season off than what we're doing here at Full Send.
I mean, Full Send certainly is the best way to start out. We saw incredible racing throughout last season. Every race, it seemed like they were making the top 5 list of our best finishes of the month, which will continue on here in 2023 as the content is continuing to flow through at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. If you haven't watched it yet, over that of the off season, got to see the behind the scenes and the driver's thoughts for the ISRC Truck Series for their season 3 finale, as they got to see 5 episodes of each round of the playoffs, and episode 5 just came out of the championship race, and it came out a week away before their season starts next week. We got a lot of different leagues starting up, and another league that actually starting up this week on Thursday night. It's the Stars and Stripes series, as Trevor, they're moving. That league has been doing a transfer of all the different series. They've already done a full cycle. We're going back to driving the ARCA cars.
Oh, that's going to be exciting. Those cars are a handful to drive, and I'm looking forward to tuning in on Thursday nights and watching that broadcast and seeing how those drivers handle those cars.
It is exciting. It's wild. We got so many different variations of vehicles we get to cover here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, and we're excited to give you all the coverage as Monday nights and Tuesday nights are truck racing action. That of the next-gen vehicles are in that of Wednesday. Thursday's ARCA, and we're green here for the LCQ. 6 laps to go. A lot of those laps dwindled away, and oh no, John Dark gets bounced out of the outside, the 99. He's got to be careful as Philip Chavez is absolutely bullying his way. 3-1 to the exit of turn 4. Wiggles shimmy in the 101, now up to 3rd, and with side-by-side with Nick Holland, John Dark spins around. Philip Chavez spins around. We stay green as drivers are calamity in the exit of turn 2.
Oh, it's chaos. The track is blocked and our leader's coming around. I think he's going to get it blown up, maybe.
Oh, no!
Oh, no!
They're piling in as going to be seeing that of the 101, backing in that of Kyle Carpenter. I don't think that's too bad of damage that he picked up there, but that is hard damage that other drivers got. And over that calamity, Trevor, update for the 99, who started second on that restart, got basically a pinball machine throughout the rest of the field. Required damage. The 99 will not make the featured event.
Unfortunate for John Dartis. I think he got shoved out of the way, maybe with a little bit of contact from Nick Holland, and then Philip Chavez just saw the opportunity and took it. Got them 3 wide, and more contact was made. Chavez spun, Holland spun, the track was blocked, and just nowhere to go for our leaders. It's such a blind corner when you're running that low to the track. Can't really see where everybody is, and then trying to stack up. Sarton gets into the back of Carpenter. Carpenter gets into Philip Chavez. I believe the 9 has some damage. I think my prediction, Sam, was fairly close. I don't think a truck's going to come out of here with a straight fender on it.
Oh no, and we've got more action to give because we have now entered overtime in the LCQ. We've got 3 attempts if needed. Now for that of overtime, it is a green, white, checkered for these drivers, meaning that we have 2 laps once we go green. If we get a yellow flag on that first lap before we get the white flag, we will then go into our second attempt. If that same scenario happens, yellow flag on that first lap, we'll go into attempt number 3. If we go into attempt number 3, there's some different rules that we'll talk about then if we get there. But Trevor, another thing on these drivers' minds is time. They have themselves just that a little bit under 2 minutes that they've got to figure out how to finish out this race. Yes, each lap is that of 13 seconds when we're green, but under pacing, it's over that of 30 seconds.
Oh, Sam, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that. These races being 20 laps, 10 minutes. The time window to fit these 20 laps in with the cautions that we've had, we're just at the 11-minute mark. So these drivers are going to have to get their move on here to see who's going to make it into this last chance race as the pace, or into the final as the pace car's off. And Philip Chavez finds himself in 5th with a great chance to make it in.
This might be our final restart. We'll find out if we get another quick caution. Diving it down low. It's going to be that of Kyle Carpenter, Cameron Sartin. Ryan Wilson's going to be trying to find himself on the inside, on the outside. Nick Holland on the inside. We're 2 by 2 for our first 2 rows. And here comes the dive bump, that of Chris Essery. We get to the white flag. We don't need another attempt. And it's going to be seen that Brian Wilson bounced out, door banged as they're side by side for 4th. That's the last transfer spot. Winning going to be that of Kyle Carpenter. The wrecking on the that of 3 and 4. But across the line, it's the 9 of Brian Wilson.
Wilson with the momentum, the run off the corner. Looks like Essery just tried to keep it turned. Could have just gone up and put the 9 in the wall, but Essery trying to keep it off of him, got tight, couldn't get the drive off the corner that he needed. And Brian Wilson survives the LCQ and advances to the feature.
Ooh, all right, so we got 4 races in. We got to see some extended racing. Well, the stage is now set. These drivers have gone through heat races. They've gone through 3 of them. We've had an LCQ. And Trevor, we made it. It is now the featured event. The lights click on. It's time for us to race here at the LA Coliseum for that of the Clash in Hollywood, presented by Ghost Racing. 90 laps, 10 drivers. Are you ready for this action now?
Oh, I cannot wait to get this race started. I mean, this feature race is going to be, I think it's going to go by quick, Sam, and I think it's going to be just intense from start to finish. Looking forward to it as drivers are getting ready or drivers starting to grid up now, and whew, catch your breath now while you can, because it's about to get back to holding your breath for 90 laps.
We just got to see some great LCQ racing. That Kyle Carpenter gets the win. He's transferred in, but here are how they're going to be lined up, getting ready to roll off. It's that of Ross Tatum, the last season's champ for the 21. He's going to be starting in first. Kyle, that of Ken Campbell, going to be in second place for the 15. Andrew Medlin going to be in third. Nick Gould is going to be in that of fourth. Travis Dart going to be in fifth. Zach Hall sixth. Seventh, the LCQ transfer drivers going to be that of seventh is Kyle Carpenter. Cameron Sartin, the 2-time champ, is going to be in eighth. Ninth is that of Nick Holland, and taking that final spot, Brian Wilson. We got Nick Gould, Brian Wilson, the 2 rookies of our 4 that showed up here tonight, made it to the featured event, and it's time for us to get to green flag racing. 10 drivers, 90 laps. They've got no fast repair. They got 4 sets of tires if they want to pick them up in pit road, and we're ready for some racing here at the Coliseum. Lights are on, and we're green for the featured event, and already a big checkup on the outside. Ross Tatum takes off. Ken Campbell trying to get himself rolling on the outer groove. And here we go, Trevor. We're already finding ourselves single file lap.
Owen Campbell with a big wiggle on the brakes into turn number 4. Almost gets into the back of Ross Tatum. Checks up Andrew Medlin into the 12. Those 2 doing a really good job keeping it off of one another. Gould settles into the 4th place position, but he's got pressure from the 32 of Zach Hall. Cameron Sartin not wasting any time getting his way up there behind the 32 of Zach Hall as he's moved his way up to, I believe that's the 6th position for that 24 machine off the start of the race. Oh, as the 12 of Medlin spins out of the turn number 2.
And Medlin out of 2 gets spun around, just showing how easy it is. Get onto the throttle a little bit too soon, and you can find yourself going around. You also tap that, the rumble strips on the inside. That could have unsettled that 12 truck. And our first caution here tonight for our featured race strikes on lap number 4.
Yeah, Medlin was a little bit too aggressive. Maybe got unsettled, like you said, on those rumble strips, trying to get the power down. Spins the 12 around, and now for Medlin, a lot of work to do for that 12 machine to get his way back up to the front of the field. A lot of lost track position. And with how hard it's been here to pass without using the front bumper of the vehicle to get around the guy in front of you, I don't know if Medlin's going to be able to work his way through the field quickly, but still got a lot of time for that 12 machine to get back to the front.
As drivers are ready to get rolling, as we are going to be seeing how fast we can get through these pace laps, as it seems like we're already settled in. I think there might have been a little bit of a miscommunication. Race admin pushed it to 1 to go while no one was stacked up, and already Ross Tatum and the rest of the group, they're taking off and they're trying to pull away from the rest of the group.
Yeah, the back half of the field wasn't quite caught up, caught the leaders off guard as well, as they were trying to figure out what was going on. Ken Campbell getting pressure here from the 14 of Gould, who gets a little bit of contact with the 15, moves himself up into second. as drivers are trying to figure out exactly what the procedure is going to be here. I think some black flags need to be cleared, but racing we're still racing here. Zach Hall's now going to pressure the 15 of Ken Campbell.
Ain't gonna be seeing that at Ken Campbell. Gotta be careful, but at least you've got a friend to work with. Those are teammates for Freaky Fast Racing. That of Ken Campbell and Zach Hall, and drivers trying to figure out how to place themselves here this evening. Nick Gould, probably one of my favorite drivers to see right now, running in second place. Great aggressive drive to get by Ken Campbell. And now the 14, settling in, trying to figure out how to catch up to Ross Tatum. And Tatum, he's in his own zip code. He's already a full second ahead of the rest of the field. And he is the fastest truck on track. But if he continues at this pace, he will have lap traffic to deal with here in the next about that 15 to 20 laps.
Yeah, with the pace that Campbell's putting down, and with how short this track is, the number of laps we got, I do expect our leader to run into some lap traffic at some point in this race, and that could be just what Nick Gould needs to catch him, along with Ken Campbell and Zach Hall. But you know, back to the 14 of Nick Gould. I mean, rookie coming into the season, we saw him have some decent pace there, and I believe it was the heat number 1, just started making some mistakes toward the end of it, almost lost that automatic transfer to the feature spot. So if he can clean those little bit of mistakes up, this 14 could maybe have something for the 21 if he gets into some lap traffic.
In the roll bar cam here on the inside of the 14. I mean, look at those hands. He is really turning on the exit, and not really a lot of overcorrection that we're seeing from the 14, trying to stay as smooth as possible. The one thing, though, I'm starting to notice is those RPMs on that of the center to the exit of the corner. It is so low. I'm curious if any of the drivers might think about maybe shifting down into third gear.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what gearing they're running in terms of what gear they're in, but for these, could be an option. I mean, shifting could really help, you know, get a little bit of momentum on corner exit, help slow the truck down on corner entry. So just some options as the 26 of Travis Dart gets loose. He saves it. We stay green. But a little bit of a moment there from Travis Dart as he was running back in the 10th position. And that's just going to bring in Ross Tatum's going to close in on him here, bring that lap traffic into play a little sooner than I think we anticipated.
That traffic is going to be a key thing to talk about, but right now, some of the best battling for position is right here for third, fourth, and fifth. As a little bit of a shimmy there from Cameron Sarney. He's got to be careful because here comes Kyle Carpenter, the winner of that of our LCQ. Done a great job to move up to sixth position, only up one spot from where he started this race, but 77 looking good for himself, just settling in, trying to figure out how do you set up, and majority of the time, I mean, it looks like, Trevor, you're just settling for a mistake more than anything else.
Yeah, you're waiting for that driver. Always a spin behind us. The 9 of Brian Wilson gets into the back of the 12 of Andrew Medlin. Since Medlin's spinning, Medlin just got around that Brian Wilson, and I think Brian, trying to get a little bit more on corner entry, maybe didn't think that the Medlin was going to check up as much as he did, sends the 12 for another spin.
I was just about to chime in on the fact that Andrew Medlin had made that pass and was trying to move up and close in the best that he could, but another incident which is going to put him even further behind. This has got to be frustrating for this 12. That only reason he's back here deep in the field is because of that self spin that he had.
Yeah, it's just frustrating as a driver when you make that mistake, put yourself back there in a position where you really don't want to be, and then you get caught up in another wreck. You just kind of continue to kick yourself about that first mistake, and it can happen. I mean, we saw it a couple times last season where a driver made a mistake, gets into the field, and those mistakes keep compounding, and the night goes from bad to worse. And for Andrew Medlin right now, the night's gone from bad to I wouldn't say worse, but we're getting to that point. If the 12 gets in another incident, I think we can officially say it's gone from bad to worse for Andrew Medlin.
It's certainly, we could say that it's snowballing and into pit road to get some service done. Going to be the 26 of Travis Dart. He's got to be careful. Drivers, I was talking to him, they said if you pit and you're deep in the field, you easily could be going a lap down if you're not careful. If you're trying to take 4 tires and fuel, you could easily go a lap down. So drivers trying to make sure they do not get caught slacking. And for the 26, looks to be he is good. Let's take a look at the weather here this evening. And drivers dealing with pretty nice weather conditions. It's pretty chilly out there as drivers are dealing with 66 degrees there of the ambient temperature, 71 for the track temp. So as much grip as they can have. as we're ready to get back to racing action into the Geico restart zone. We're green once again for our featured event here for the Clash.
And Tatum with a great jump. Gould slides up a little bit, but nowhere for Campbell to go, as Campbell didn't get a great run off corner exit. Zach Hall going to try to use that outside line to his advantage. Gets a really good drive off the top on his teammate there in the 15, but not quite able to clear him. But again, Zach going to try to use that momentum on the outside, gets that pass done on Ken Campbell, now moves up himself up in the third. Cameron Sarton with almost a little bit of contact from the 77 of Kyle Carpenter, but they keep it straight behind him.
That move by Zach Hall was such a power move to make that outside lane work. We hadn't seen it all night long, but the battle for the lead now starting to heat up. Nick Gould gonna be right on the back bumper of our leader. Zach Hall starting to close in, and Nick Gould might be thinking, I've got to make this pass quick before he gets pressured by Zach Hall anymore.
Yeah, gotta get that done before Zach gets there, but this is the first time that Tatum's really had anybody pressuring him, as Gould gets a little loose off corner exit to turn number 4. Allows Tatum to drive away, but Tatum, like I noted on first time, he's had pressure all night long. He glued it back into Heat 1, so can't look too much in his mirror and offset his rhythm because he could fall into the clutches of these two.
Starting to see the leaders trying to hold on the best that they can. Zach Hall trying to figure out how to place himself into these corners, and a big thing that we're visually seeing as well, the amount of force the drivers have to put in to break into these corners. It is a lot. You're seeing that front end just dig into the surface each time they enter each and every corner. And Trevor, I mean, how much is that digging into helping the drivers, or is that hurting the tires for this long run?
Depends on how much they're locking up those front tires. Haven't seen a lot of it. What we're seeing with the truck diving like that is just the suspension and how the suspensions work on these things. And Zach looking to the inside here. Gould gets a little loose.
Oh no!
Contact's made, and the 14 spins it to the inside wall.
Just trying to get back into the throttle, and at rear end kicks out, front end whips back up, and Nick Gould gonna be involved with this one in the 14. Luckily, not completely out of this race, but Zach immediately over the radio once he made contact felt bad about that issue, and not the way that he wanted to make the pass. He thought he was going to be able to make that cleanly. Not going to be the case for that of the 32. And like most wrecks, it seems like the driver that makes the initial contact or makes the issues, the one that survives, the one that gets involved in the wreck, gets the worst of it, as the 14 is just hoping to stay on the lead lap, as he had to actually give up that position to fall behind the pace car. We'll see if Gould is going to stay a lap down, or if he'll get his lap back and start at the tail end of the field.
And thankfully, this being as short of a track as it is, that little bit of front end damage, it looks bad, but since we're at the short track, the aerodynamics not going to be that important here. The question is, how much motor damage does that 14 have? Because that could be the part that really hurts Nick going forward in this feature race as he tries to work his way back up to the front.
Got to figure out how to get back up there, as the field is going to be seeing our leader right now, Ross Tatum. He's led practically every lap here this evening. Zach Hall in second place. Ken Campbell going to be in third, with Cameron Sarton in fourth. Fifth's going to be Nick Collin. Ryan Wilson going to be in sixth. Seventh, that of Kyle Carpenter. Andrew Metlin going to be in eighth. Ninth is Travis Dart. And Nick Gould, who was in second, falls all the way down to 10th place. But a surprising pit stop going to be made. It's going to be that of Travis Dart and Cameron Sarton, both hitting pit road.
Interesting call here from especially Cameron Sarton. I know Travis getting a little bit of damage worked on that 26 machine, but Cameron Sarton coming down, taking some tires here, maybe thinking that, hey, some fresh tires might have a little bit more grip, especially on corner exit, help him get some runs made and some passes made, but giving up some key track positions, that 24 machine.
And as well, another driver that came in for tires, Andrew Medlin, took 4 tires for the 12 machine, as he's going to be ready to get set and rolling. So got 3 different drivers deciding to trickle into pit road on this go. We'll see how much tire is going to be useful as we're coming up to the start of lap 39 of 90. We're closing into halfway, and Zach Hall, can he make another power move on the outside? And not a great launch, a great one for Ross Tatum. But Tatum starting to find some woes and a little bit of demons from last season. It is going to be that blinking issue for the 21.
That looks like it's cleared up a little bit for him here. Zach Hall gives chase to the 21 of Tatum. Battle for third, though, between the 15 of Ken Campbell, the 16 of Nick Hall, and the 9 of Brian Wilson. There's Holland, gives a little bit of a tap to the 15 of Ken Campbell, but they keep it straight. That's going to allow the 9 of Brian Wilson to get to the inside as he gets a little loose. Cameron Sarton, with those fresh tires, already back up here into the 6th position. Wilson looks like he's struggling a little bit. Zach Hall's bringing the 32 machine down pit road.
I believe he got a black flag. Could have been a false restart of taking off too soon. And a black flag to 32. That is going to be a race-ending incident. Coming into pit road, going to be also having a hold, it looks like. So 1, maybe even 2 laps down is going to be that of the 32 machine as Ross Tatum continues to pull away. But the drivers in the middle of the pack looking strong, and one of them, Andrew Medlin, spinning out and right into pit entry.
That's not going to cause a caution, but he keeps it out of pit entry. I think he saved himself from getting an unsafe pit entry too, as he didn't hit the commitment cone. But another mistake for the 12 of Andrew Medlin, just trying to get as much as he could. Gets a little bit loose again, but the man on the move right now, the 24, Cameron Sarton, those fresh tires on that 24 machine, and he is flying as he's now behind the 9 of Brian Wilson in the battle for third.
It looked like Zach Hall penalized again and could be disqualified. Is the 32 machine. His race looks to be officially done and dusted. We hope to see some better runs once the season starts, as Ross Tatum, Ken Campbell, Brian Wilson, and that of Cameron Sarton going to be your top 4 currently. And Cameron Sarton, fresh rubber, he is making it work and putting the pressure on third place runner, that of Brian Wilson. As Ross Tatum is having absolute terrible internet issues, and we're seeing a lot of that blinking, but contact making the pass, the 24, wanting to move up as fast as possible.
Wanted to move up, got into that of Brian Wilson a little bit, but those two sorted out as caution's out.
And it's going to be the 14 of Nick Gould, who's right on the exit inside of turn 2. And it looked to be contact between the 12 and the 14 going into that of turn 2. 1 and 2, and over the radio saying that they felt like there was a little bit of blinking issues, and Medlin not sure where the 14 officially was, and contact was made. So the 2 drivers have been having issues here tonight. Those woes continue to pile on.
Yeah, the snowball effect, as you called it, Sam, just continues for Andrew Medlin, as Ross Tatum has a couple of blinking issues here under caution. But for Ross Tatum and Nick Gould, just the snowball effect, lost that track position, and now just getting caught up in more and more incidents for the 12 and the 14. And for Zach Hall, I mean, the jumping the restart, big mistake there for the 32, as he looked like he might have had something for the 21 of Ross Tatum. But right now, with all the carnage that we've seen, Cameron Sarton, I believe, is going to restart this race in second with those fresh tires. So this could get really interesting for the 21 of Ross Tatum.
The big reason why you have that of the 9 of Brian Wilson, Travis Dart, and as well Ken Campbell all coming in for 4 tires and fuel to get back out there on track. Travis Dart looks to be still getting some repairs done for the 26 machine as he is back into pit road. We're stacked up, getting ready to go back to green flag racing. More drivers with fresh rubber. How will Ross Tatum be able to handle those fresh rubber that's going to be on his tailpipes? As here we go, about to get rolling. I'm excited, Trevor. I mean, with the fact that we've seen that fresh tires, Cameron Sarton, he only took 2 tires on the right side, and he's looked very strong. I'm curious to see how well will Wilson, Campbell, and Dart, how will they be able to move forward?
We've seen the speed that Wilson's shown here in the early stage. Have been right up there in the top 4, top 5. So those 2 tires, based off of what we've seen with Cameron Sarton, should be pretty good for that 9 truck. And then Ken Campbell was up into second. He was up a couple positions, come down and take tires as well. So I think for Ken, I mean, smart move on these 2, seeing what the 24 was able to do on those 2 fresh tires, coming in, getting some fresh tires, and should be able to make pretty quick work of the 68 of Nick Holland and the 77 of Kyle Carpenter.
Curious on how, for Ross Tatum, how he's going to feel trying to react, because as a leader, you're kind of stuck out there thinking that you're running your own race and no one can catch you. But the rest of the field, they've been testing, they've been trialing, And now it's time to see, will new tires or old tires? How will they last? We're past halfway, lap 55 and 90, and Ross Tatum, can he hold off the two-time champ of that of Cameron Sarton?
And gets a really good start there on the restart. Nick Holland dives it in deep, trying to avoid a little bit of contact from the 9 of Brian Wilson, but keeps it clean as Wilson's moved up, got around the 77 of Kyle Carpenter, but for Sarton, trying to track down the 21 of Ross Tatum. What's going on back there, Sam?
Wilson, real wiggly on the exit turn 2, even in the center of the corner. Also battling for 5th place, Ken Campbell trying to get by Carpenter, and Andrew Medlin being very aggressive to see the 12 trying to get by the 77 machine. And Carpenter not looking comfortable because of those old tires as he continues to fall back. And now the pressure for the lead is on Cameron Sarton on the back bumper of Ross Tatum.
Sarton's there, just eking into the gap of the 21 of Tatum, just trying to find any little bit of momentum that he can off corner exit with those fresher tires to close it in. But Tatum, the last lap, pulled a little bit of a gap there, maybe about another car length between the two. That last lap by as the 24 continues to chase the 21.
Looking at the lap times, I mean, a lot of equal driving I'm seeing from this field. Not a lot of the fresh rubber absolutely dominating, but you can just tell the better exit comes from the drivers with fresh rubber. But for Cameron Sarton, taking 2 tires, pretty risky call for a track that seems to be as loose as it is on that the entry and exit.
Yeah, I think the 4 tires probably would have been the safer play, but like we touched on, drivers thinking that taking 4 tires could put you a lap down. So maybe not want to take that risk, not give up as much track position taking 4 over 2. But you saw it right there, starting a little loose on the backstretch, trying to get the power down on the corner exit. Loses a little bit more time to the 21. Just that gap ever so steady at about 2 truck lengths between these 2 drivers.
And here comes Ken Campbell spinning around to the 15. He was on the move, not going to be working out, and the yellow flag comes out. A lap 64. That's our 5th yellow of the evening, and another look to be self-spin, but could have been some slight contact there on the exit.
Yeah, I think Campbell looks like he was already in the process of the self-spin and then got finished off there by the 26 of Travis Dart. Travis, nowhere to go with the 15 spinning there. A little bit of contact made, just finishes off the 15 spin. But now the question for Ross Tatum, you held off the 24. Do you think about coming and taking tires here, or do you stay out and protect that track position?
I mean, I feel like you got to just stay out, save that track position. We've seen if you go back deep in the field, the only driver that's made it work is Cameron Sarton. I feel like if you're Ross Tatum, you just stay out there. Unless you feel like your tires are absolutely gone and dusted. It doesn't seem like that. He's still pretty competitive, even with the old tires. I would stay out there if I'm the 21. And just a reminder for the audience, replays, very difficult for us to call. So for giving you live feeds, we're sorry for not having those. But we hope to have those back for our next event, which is going to be Thursday night for the Stars and Stripes. That we're going to be in the ARCA cars for their series. Excited to see when that comes. But for all cautions, we're going to be seeing all of these drivers. We're going to be doing as many just radio calls once we see yellows happening. As tonight, big thanks to some of our amazing sponsors we have here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You see it blinking at our top left. That is iRacing iFlag. iRacing iFlag has some of the best products you could ask for. They've got themselves a digital pit board that can tell you great information such as weather conditions, what your fuel is looking like, as well as their patented iFlag virtual flag system. You might have been hearing about it. It is a box that blinks at you, showing what the flag conditions are on track. It could be so useful when there's a yellow or if a driver is closing in on you for a blue flag. Great information, great knowledge, make you a better racer. That of iRacing iFlag. Go use our promo code FreakyFast2022. And man, what a crazy year we had in 2022. So excited for the start of 2023. And Trevor, this year, man, I'm excited to see what's going to come, because tonight already showing this truck series is going to be fun to watch all year long as the pace car pulls off. This race closing in. We are getting back to green flag racing at the start of a nice lap. It's that 69 as it's going to be seeing the 21 blinking just slightly. Here comes Cameron Sarton on the outside trying to get a monster run for himself.
Gets that run, the 21 with another little bit of a blink, sends the 24 wide. It's going to open the door for the 9 of Brian Wilson, one of the rookies who survived the carnage here in the feature race. A little bit of contact with the 24 of Sarton slides him up. That allows Travis Dart to get through. Nick Hollins through. Dart's going to try to take it to the outside of the 9 of Wilson.
Oh, no, Holland, Calamity, and an absolute gridlock for some on the front stretch as drivers just got spun around. And it looked to have started with Nick Holland just getting some contact with Travis Dart after he bounced off the exit of turn 4.
Yeah, going back to look at this, I think Dart got loose trying to get the power down. On the outside of Nick Holland, comes down, collects the 68. And just nowhere for these guys to go as the track blocks up to 12. If Medlin gets more damage, the 14 of Gould, I think it stopped in time, doesn't get any damage, but heavy contact for the 26, the 68, and the 77 of Kyle Carpenter also involved in that incident.
And for all those drivers, going to be no required damage flag, luckily for them, but we'll see how many drivers want to come into pit road. It looks to be 3 at least. Ken Campbell, Travis Dart, and Kyle Carpenter come into pit road to get themselves some service here tonight. Caution number 6, we got one more sponsor we got to give thanks to, and that is the admin box. Well, I know we got a race control here this evening, and I know for most race controls you would want an admin box. It's a premium button box with a plug, set, and go feature to allow you to be the best race control or race admin. If you see a caution, if you need to clear a black flag, just flip a switch and you're ready to get all the service done for your drivers. For league races, for hosted races, and anything else, they've got you covered at the admin box. And remember to use our discount code FFB-BOXX. That's FFB-box with 2 X's. Thank you to Admin Box. Thank you to iRacing, iFlag. We will be putting a link in the description, in the chat here shortly, of our merch store. Thank you so much just for supporting us at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. To the drivers, well, Trevor, it's time for them to put on a great show. As someone has actually spun around. That looked like Nick Gould got himself spun around on the entry of turn 1, but we are in the shootout range. It is going to be less than 15 laps to go when we go green once again.
And these guys have been so aggressive since the drop of the green flag, and that aggression is just going to continue to take up as these laps wind down. 15 to go, 14 to go as they cross the line here under pacing. And Sam, we've seen it all so far. A couple of track blockers, some contacts being made. The guy's not afraid to use the bumper, and it's just going to get more and more aggressive as this race continues. But does anybody have anything for Ross Tatum in that 21 truck there? That 21 does not have any scratch on it. Is it going to stay that way for the rest of the race as the pace car's pulled off?
Pace car pulls off, and it is time to see Ross Tatum gets a good launch for himself. But Brian Wilson, 4 fresh tires, and Will Cameron starting to retaliate to the 9 machine as they have been beating and banging off of one another. And the 24 gets the better inside lane, going to be trying to get the better launch. Will do so, but here comes Wilson on the back bumper in the interior turn 1.
And Nick Holland dives it into the inside of Wilson. He's going to be side-by-side battle for third. Andrew Medlin side-by-side with Carpenter, but gets clear of the 77. Stuck on that outside line, though, is the 12 of Medlin as Nick Holland clears the 9 of Wilson. Medlin stuck there, gets a little bit of contact to the outside wall as Carpenter locks the brakes, trying to keep it off the back of the 9 and spins out, and contact made between the 77 and the 14 of Gould, as Gould nowhere to go as the 77 spun around.
Nowhere for himself to go, and another wreck comes out here this evening. That's 7 in total, but it's kind of what we were expecting coming to the clash. This track's so difficult. We touched on it during the LCQ. Were you expecting some aggressive driving and beating and banging drivers? No, you've got to be making some big moves. Either you bank on a mistake or you move somebody, and we've been seeing some drivers making some mistakes. I think that's probably the biggest thing that's kind of shocking, Trevor, is how much we've been seeing lockups and drivers spinning out with those lockups just looking like brake biases, just turned up a little bit too much.
It's turn up those brake biases, trying to get as aggressive as you can with your braking, especially here, trying to get as much rear brake into it so you're not dragging the front tires running wide in the corner. If you have too much front braking, that's what's going to happen. You're going to lock the front tires, slide up on, in the center of the corner, but if you get it to the rear, it really can help that truck rotate through the center, give you a better drive off. But I think we've seen it a couple times here tonight, Sam. Too much in that rear brake causes you to lock those rear brakes up and cause you to spin out. And it's exactly what happened with the 77 of Kyle Carpenter.
It has been wild to see how the drivers have been attacking this go-around, but man, have they been trying everything they can as drivers getting ready to take off. Man, I gotta say, this is certainly looking to be a blast to watch how the end of this race is going to go. It's going to be at less than 10 laps to go, 8 to go. Looks to be pace car lights are off. We should be going this time by. Excuse me, should be going maybe next time by. And for that, we actually are going to be trying something we haven't done for a while, and that's pull up a driver. Ross, it's Sam and Trevor up at the booth. You got us?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Ross, this is our leader right now. Ross, how are you feeling for this race? You've been dominating so far. How do you feel like you can hold off for this little bit of last dashes?
I think it's going to be tight right here. I got to get a good restart. If I don't get a good restart, then it can be an issue. But as long as I get a good restart and clear some traffic or clear second and third, I should be okay, hopefully.
And we're hoping for that as well. I know it's quickly back to green flag racing, so we'll send you back, but good luck here tonight.
Appreciate it.
As that was our leader, Ross Tatum. I mean, just hearing that, Trevor needs a good restart. He's been crispy on it so far here tonight. And here we go into the Geico restart zone. The 21 gets another fantastic launch, probably his best one of the night.
The best restart he's had all night, right when he needed it. The 21 shoots out of a cannon. The 24, Sartin throw him in a lockup from the 21, and contact's made and sends the 21.
He blinked
around.
He blinked right on the entry of the corner, and they never knew where he was. And he got blasted from the rear end. Ross Tatum from the lead back to 8th. And I think, Trevor, I remember why we stopped doing interviews. It is certainly a curse at times.
The curse of the commentators strikes. He had the restart he needed. The little bit of internet issues. Not sure if he locked up as well as he came back. We saw the puff of smoke as Ross connected back to the server from the internet issues. But Medlin, or I'm sorry, not Medlin, but Sartin just not knowing where the 21 was makes it hard. Contact's made, and for the man who has dominated the his heat race, dominated the feature race, that's got to hurt for the 21 of Ross Tatum.
And for Ross Tatum, he is still trying to figure out how he is going to get his internet issues because he's still blinking, and we'll see if the 21 decides not to come into pit road. And he's the only driver that doesn't have fresh rubber. And when he's that far back in the field, you need tires. You don't have that restart to kind of give you that fresh air to work with. And this is going to be a rough end of this race as lights are going to be looking to be still on in the pace car. Trevor, 3 to go. When they come across the line, it's going to stay 3 to go because we have officially are going to be entering here overtime very shortly. And man, the drivers, they got 3 attempts. We are officially in overtime.
In overtime, and Sam, look who's sitting in 3rd place right now. Andrew Medlin. This driver has self-spun, I believe, twice, been caught up in pretty much, I think, every caution we've had here tonight, and is in 3rd position with a chance to win the clash here tonight. Never giving up is, I think, going to be Andrew Medlin's motto. If he can walk out of here with a win tonight, that 12 machine is beaten all kinds of ways, but with a shot to win it here in this green-white checker.
Green, white checker. They're stacked up. They're ready to go. If you were here for the LCQ, we had the same scenario happen there, but there's not a time limit. This is the scenario. It is a green, white, checkered overtime attempt. If we get a yellow flag on that first attempt on this first lap, we will go into attempt number 2. But if we stay green, we get that white flag, we race it to the end. Here we go, the clash here at Hollywood, and it's time to get taken off. Cameron Sartin, a fantastic run, a little bit of beating and banging for 3rd place. We're aiming for the white flag if we can get there. Cameron Sartin diving down low, trying to defend that inside lane. Andrew Medlin gets up to 2nd. White flag's in the air. It's a freaky fast white flag, and that of Cameron Sartin looks good for himself. Medlin's got one more opportunity. He's gonna either destroy the 24. It looks like he'll set it, but there goes Ken Campbell shoved up to the outside wall as Cameron Sartin wins the clash here tonight.
Yeah, and for that, if Ken Campbell gets a shot from Nick Holland, gets spun around, Nick Holland's going to bring it home in 3rd. Andrew Medlin, after all the ups and downs for that 12 machine, comes home 2nd somehow for Andrew Medlin. And Sam, Those 90 laps of carnage and chaos and excitement. And what a way to start the season for the Full Send Racing Series.
Woo! And that is not even the start of the official season. That is next week. This is just a fun expedition. I get to see these drivers have some fun here tonight. And man, Trevor, the Clash, we've only seen it here at Freaky Fast. This is the second official time. We saw it for the Wicked Racing League a couple of months ago. But man, the trucks certainly put on a great show here this evening. We only had a handful of cautions come out, and the 24 took the 2 tires, took the risk, and he marched his way through the field and was one of the few drivers that really made the tires and going through the field work. Everyone else seemed to have finding trouble when they were going through the field, and the 24 gets to have some fun in the infield.
Yes, he does. What a call there from Cameron to come down, get those 2 tires, work his way through the field pretty quickly to get back up there. And that unfortunate little bit of contact between him and Ross Tatum with the blinking issues sends Ross around. But for Cameron starting the 2-time champ, starting off strong for Full Send, getting the win in the Clash and setting himself up with some great momentum going into Daytona next week.
And next week, we can't wait to give you the coverage. But for tonight, we're not done just yet. We're going to be finding ourselves with some interviews. We're going to be talking to our top 2, and maybe a special guest here for our post-race show on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show here this evening on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the Full Send Racing Series. For tonight, Clash in Hollywood presented by Ghost Racing. We got to see 92 laps for a featured race. We got to see also 3 heats, 1 LCQ, plenty of racing action, and the driver that you see on screen, the 24, getting the win. We're changing things up in 2023. Let's start off with our winner here tonight, Cameron Sarn, the 2-time champ. I mean, what a way to start out this new year, new season. How are you feeling winning the Clash?
Oh, pretty wild. I like the energy. But I didn't really feel like I deserved it, but I put on those 2 fresh right side tires and made a pretty good difference and could hang with Ross. He was by far the best driver or car out there, truck, I guess, tonight. So had a runoff too from the high side, and I kind of sent in the 3, and I feel terrible, but he just completely disappeared. And next thing I know, he was spun. So it sucks, but I mean, it's a for fun race. You know, he got the championship last year, so I guess I can have the clash. But so overall, it's good. A lot of fun out there tonight, so it's always a good time running here.
I mean, Cameron, just give us a little bit of insight of what it's like to handle these trucks around this track. We saw it self spins, you know, a bunch of times around here, locking up the brakes. I mean, just how hard is it to get around this track, especially when you're racing with 10 other guys who want it just as bad as you do to win the clash?
It's it's brutal, to be honest. You miss your braking point by a foot, and you're either sliding and locking them up, and if you hit it perfect, there's a chance for the guy behind you to miss him by a foot and lock up and hit you. So there's no escaping. You just kind of have to trust everyone around you, including yourself, 24/7 here. And if you don't, it's going to get ugly. So you can't drive out the rear view mirror, especially at short tracks. It's when you get in trouble. So always look ahead of you and hopefully continue moving up. But it was, oh man, crazy night. So did not think I would have a chance, but kind of sat there behind Ken a while, just kind of learned some things, and then sat behind Ross for about 15 laps and kind of got his rhythm down. So knew I could kind of hang with him when I got the opportunity and take advantage of it.
Well, Cameron, it was an incredible race just to see you fight through the field. I know it wasn't the way you thought you were going to get the win, but you got it done. Congratulations on that. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, shout out to mom, dad, grandparents watching. Shout out the Ghost Racing team. Got some new guys here on the Full Send series, so gonna have some fun this year. Good start for us. Travis for putting this on per usual. You guys up in the booth, and hopefully here's to more interviews throughout the rest of the season, and we'll now try for three-peat this year.
We hope for it. That is going to be the 24, Cameron Sarn. Congratulations on your win here at the Clash, and good luck next week.
Appreciate it, guys. See you.
As we go from the lead to the driver that could not get it done at the end, but certainly had a great run for himself, we got that of Andrew Medlin with us. Andrew, congratulations on second place, man. How are you feeling after getting that one here tonight? Again, at least a second place here tonight.
Beat up. I think my back got thrown out there on the second caution. I mean, I was an old man just struggling to keep it straight. I had a couple of really embarrassing car control issues early on, but to bring the thing home, P2, I don't know how in the world. I mean, I guess what 8 other drivers had worse races than I did. That's the only thing I can put towards it.
Andrew, I think at one point we said your race was snowballing and not in a good way for you out there tonight.
Oh.
But I mean, what a recovery drive back up to second for you here tonight. Thankfully, that truck does not have to go to Daytona next week for the start of the season. But how are you feeling about going to Daytona after tonight's race?
Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, this one's going home on the wrecker on the flatbed, and if you saw that first caution, I just lost it on my own, and I hope I'm not the only guy that did that tonight. Something changed from practice and qualifying to the race as far as the handling down on those rumble strips. At least that's what I'd like to convince myself, that it was just wildly loose on the back end coming out of 2 and 4 a bunch there. But heading into Daytona, I'll go ahead and announce it here. I love super speedway racing. And unfortunately, my real job, not my iRacing job, sending me on a work trip. So I'm going to be sitting on the sidelines, but luckily we have an awesome broadcast at Freaky Fast. So I'll be watching all the action on the stream.
Well, Andrew, we're going to be missing you next week for sure with you not being there. We know you can be fast at those super speedways, but you've been fast in these trucks in the past. How are you feeling coming into the season, knowing that we're back in the trucks? It's been a flip-flop of the Xfinity cars and the trucks, and we're back here for season 4.
Oh, Sam, I confidence has definitely improved over last season. The trucks really fit my driving style better. Maybe it's just because it takes a little less finesse with these. I'm not sure. But I really like how they handle, seem to do really well, and really excited with my new team. I mean, I've had awesome teammates in the few seasons I've been racing here on iRacing. But one guy in particular, Ken Campbell, I've been first guy I met on iRacing, drafted together in a practice at Daytona, and this is our first time racing together. And then to add the legendary Zach Hall from Freaky Fast Broadcasting to the group, really have high hopes for this Freaky Fast racing team. So and really everyone in the league. I mean, Travis Dart does an amazing job running this league. I mean, we have an absolutely phenomenal race control now. I mean, this is a well-oiled machine here they got running at full send. So really high hopes for this year, and I hope we're talking more, but one position higher.
I hope so as well. Well, Andrew, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, certainly. Give a shout out to you guys first in the broadcast booth. You guys just do an absolutely phenomenal job each week, and really excited. In fact, I dictate my league racing on whether or not Freaky Fast is broadcasting it. So props to you guys. Also got to give a shout out to Next Level Racing and ButtKicker sponsoring the league. My sponsors, Special Olympics and the Race for Inclusion. Can't forget them. And obviously my beautiful wife, Sarah, my father, Bruce, my brother, Aaron, buddy Joe, who's usually watching, Vernon. Give a shout out to them. And then, as I mentioned a moment ago, Travis Dart runs an awesome league. John Dart for sponsoring tonight. And while she may be the last one mentioned in a lot of my shout outs, she's definitely at the top of the chart. Rita Evans, if you're watching tonight, big shout out to you as well. But had fun, and thanks again, guys. I'll look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks at Homestead.
Can't wait for it. That second place finisher here tonight of the 12th machine of Andrew Medlin. Andrew, congratulations on second, and good luck in 2 weeks.
Appreciate it, boys. Have a good night.
Well, that is our top two, but we got a special guest we're going to be bringing up with this. It's going to be how we're going to be doing interviews this year. We're bringing up fourth place finisher, that of Brian Wilson. Brian, congratulations on a fourth place finish. Your first race with that of the Full Send Racing Series being at the Clash. Man, how does it feel, rookie season, and a fourth place finish for yourself?
I got to tell you, I'm pretty pleased with it. Coming from a league that was exclusively short track racing, which is a great league, but short tracks are just not my forte. And coming into this, I wasn't really expecting to do too much, having never ran this track at all. So the fact that I was able to muster together a fourth place finish, I'm pretty happy with it.
Brian, with like Sam said, with this being your rookie season, I mean, you came in, put on a great show here tonight, making it to the feature race, coming home fourth, but going through the rest of the season, I mean, kind of walk us through what you're feeling like, especially going into Daytona Homestead after that and for throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am much more comfortable with speedways and super speedways, so I'm really excited to see what we can do there. I know we got a really competitive group in this league, so just hoping I can hang with them and have a good time racing. I'm also really excited about the road courses. Definitely more of a road course racer in most of the time. I do a lot of that as well, and really excited to see what I can do at those two tracks this year.
Brian, we also saw here tonight a lot of hard racing, a couple of big moves of you bouncing into people, you being bounced around. How was it from your cockpit point of view of a night for yourself?
I think it was pretty good on most everybody's part. I mean, there was definitely some aggressive racing taking place, but we had a few cautions. But for the most part, when we were under green, people were trying to get all they could, but really weren't being unreasonable in their moves. I feel like it was a good race, and I made a couple mistakes that probably put a couple folks in a bad position, but I think it happened to me as well. So at the end of the day, at short tracks like this, it's always give and take, and you just kind of got to hang on and see where everything settles at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Well, Brian, congratulations on fourth place and being the leader of the rookie class, finishing here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Just a shout out to a couple guys that I used to do a lot of racing with before I joined up with this league, with Travis Dart and Lyle Christensen. They kind of got me into this league, and happy to be here. And then I guess if my wife happens to be listening to this at some point, shout out to her. She's great. Thanks, guys.
Well, that is going to be the 9 machine of Brian Wilson. Congratulations on fourth place, and good luck heading into the season.
Appreciate it.
as that is going to be our interviews this evening. Trevor, what a race that we got to see here this evening. 10 drivers making the featured event. As we take a look at the finishing results, it's going to be that Cameron Sarton taking that first place position with Andrew Medlin. Nick Holland's going to be in third. Brian Wilson leading the rookies in fourth. Travis Dart going to be in fifth place. Kyle Carpenter takes sixth. Ross Tatum dominated the majority of the race, falls all the way down to seventh, with Nick Gould going to be in that of eighth, as well as Ken Campbell in ninth. And Zach Hall, disappointed he got disqualified, but he is going to be finishing out in 10th.
Yeah, I mean, what a start to the season for these guys. The Clash was everything I think we expected it to be and a little bit more. And I mean, Zach Hall, just that unfortunate issue there with jumping the restart, something the drivers are going to have to be worried about throughout the rest of the season as we implement those Geico restart zones. I think it's going to be the second time they used it last season. And so drivers got to be, hopefully are used to it by now, but you can't have those mistakes. And I'm sure we'll see some more throughout the season, but big shout out to Nick Gould there in the 14. Had speed early on. She got caught up there in some of the pinball incidents throughout the race, but good showing from him in his first race with these guys, along with who we just talked to, Brian Wilson. But you got to feel for Ross Tatum in the 21, coming off the championship last year at Vegas, comes in, dominates Heat 1, dominates 90% of the feature race here, and just has that one internet issue going into turn number 3 that gets him spun around and puts him back in the back of the field. But Sam, based on that, off of what we saw here tonight, what we saw from them last season, I can't wait to get to Daytona next week and officially get this season started.
Oh, I'm so excited for it. The Clash, a little bit of getting the rust off for the drivers, a little bit for us as well after having a couple of weeks off here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Again, reminder, go check out the long run. The series, season 1 is complete. Go check it out as the ISRC Truck Series comes back Monday next week. It starts back up next week. Full schedule practically is back up. We got 4 races we'll cover next week, but for this week, we got one more still to go, and that is going to be at Daytona. The start is Super Speedway Racing. It is going to be the Stars and Stripes racing in the ARC car. Cannot wait for it. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be a blast. Trevor, we got a lot of Super Speedway Racing to cover here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We got Stars and Stripes on Thursday. Monday, it's going to be for the ISRC Truck Series. Then we're going to be seeing on Tuesday here, going to be covering the Full Send Racing Series at Daytona. Then Talladega on Wednesday for Wicked. It's a Super Speedway Bonanza showing up.
Oh, you'll love to see it. The start of the seasons are always so excited. Most of them always go to Daytona or Talladega to start the season off. Started off with excitement, chaos, carnage, and surprise winners could pop up out of nowhere. And I'm looking forward to not only getting through to Thursday, but getting into next week and getting this kicked off, getting 2023 kicked off with a bang.
Cannot wait for it. Well, Trevor, before we officially call it a night, the floor is also now yours for any of your final thoughts here tonight and heading into the rest of the season.
Yep. Shout out to you and Robert for bringing me back for 2023. Greatly appreciate it. Looking forward to covering Full Send with you on Tuesday and WSSR on Saturday when their season kicks off, I believe in February. For when they kick off, and shout out to all the fans that tune in every week to any of our broadcasts throughout the week. You keep the lights on here for us, and looking forward to giving you great races in 2023 and beyond.
Well, happy holidays to everyone for the break that we just got to have. Well, hopefully you've reset. You're ready because we got a lot of racing action to cover as it is right back to ramped up coverage on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Trevor Earhart, for Robert Moyer Jr., as well as everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. And we'll see you on our next broadcast Thursday night. Stars and Stripes. It's the start of the regular season for all the leagues that we get to cover. We can't wait for it. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you then. Yeah. That's why we had this race.